"Get out! You're finished here." Adrian's voice cut through the conference room like a blade, cold and dismissive. He didn't even bother to look at me when he said it, just flicked his hand toward the door like I was a stain on his suit. Around the table, managers kept their eyes glued to their laptops, suddenly deaf, suddenly blind. No one spoke, not even when he added, "You were never leadership material anyway. My father was just being generous keeping you around." The humiliation stung more than the firing itself. Adrian, the boss's son who had barely survived 1 year at the company, had stripped me of my job in front of everyone like it was entertainment. My hands shook as I collected my notes, every eye in the room burning into me, every silence another betrayal. I walked out without a word, but my chest burned with a promise. Humiliation fades, but revenge, that would last. That night, I replayed every moment in my head. The smirk on Adrian's face, the way the managers avoided my eyes, the whispered chuckles I swore I heard as I left. He thought he had broken me, but all he did was sharpen me. I pulled out the folder I had quietly built over the last 6 months, emails, invoices, shadow accounts I had stumbled on while fixing mistakes in reports Adrian had carelessly approved. At the time, I hadn't told anyone. Who would believe me? The CEO's golden boy was untouchable. But now I had nothing left to lose, and that made me dangerous. I organized every piece of proof, each file like a blade in my hand. Adrian thought firing me erased me. He hadn't realized he'd just set the stage for his own fall. By Monday morning, the office buzzed with Adrian's self-congratulations. He strutted through the halls, telling anyone who would listen how he was cleaning house, how dead weight like me held the company back. I walked in unnoticed, no longer staff, just a ghost moving between the walls. My badge still worked. I had made sure of that before leaving. In the quiet corners of the finance floor, I slipped a copy of the files into a trusted ally's desk drawer. Clara, head of compliance, the one person who hated Adrian's shortcuts almost as much as I did. She wouldn't know the source, but she would recognize the rot. I left without a word, heart pounding. Planting a seed was all it took. Adrian's empire had cracks. I just handed someone the hammer. It didn't take long. By midweek, whispers floated through the building. Clara had found the anomalies and launched a routine review. Adrian laughed it off at first, joking loudly that she was chasing ghosts. But the forced laughter, the tight jaw, told another story. I lingered in the cafe across the street, watching the building like a hawk. From that distance, I saw Adrian pacing, saw his temper flaring in the glass reflections. He had always been arrogant, but now the mask was slipping. His father, the CEO, still believed in him, still defended him, but doubt spreads like wildfire once lit. I didn't need to be inside to feel it. The tide was shifting, and for the first time, Adrian wasn't laughing. By Friday, the first ripple hit. Finance pulled Clara aside, quietly asking if she had noticed the discrepancies in Adrian's reports. She nodded, wordless, and let the silence do the talking. Later, during Adrian's big presentation, his numbers faltered. The board frowned, comparing notes, whispering. His voice cracked, his charm gone brittle. I watched from the lobby screen, sipping coffee, anonymous in the crowd. The man who had humiliated me days ago now stumbled in front of the people whose approval he craved most. His panic was a symphony, every stutter a reminder I was still here, and this was just the beginning. The weekend brought more chaos. Adrian's emails leaked. Doctored invoices, fake vendor accounts, expenses that didn't add up. I hadn't needed to push them. Clara's team uncovered everything themselves. But I made sure the right questions landed in the right inboxes. Anonymous tips, carefully worded, each one cutting a little deeper. By Monday, the office that once worshipped him treated him like poison. Conversations stopped when he entered. Managers avoided his gaze. The same silence that once swallowed me was now his cage. He stormed through the halls, shouting about loyalty, about witch hunts, but no one was listening anymore. The CEO finally summoned him. I stood outside the building, rain streaking the glass, watching as Adrian walked into his father's office like a soldier to war. An hour later, he emerged pale, suit wrinkled, eyes darting. His father had scolded him, but hadn't cut him loose, yet. Adrian was still the heir, still the son, but the cracks in their alliance were visible now, and the board had started circling. He looked up at the windows, maybe sensing me, maybe just paranoid. Either way, he was right. I was there, and I wasn't done. He tried to fight back. Adrian called emergency meetings, barked orders, demanded loyalty. But fear had replaced respect. His allies backed away one by one, unwilling to sync with him. In desperation, he turned to threats. Late-night calls, messages to my old number, even rumors about me spread through the network. I almost laughed. The same arrogance that destroyed him was now weaponized against a ghost. He thought firing me erased me, but he had only freed me from chains. Every attempt he made to scare me only tightened the noose around his own neck. The final blow came sooner than I expected. Clara's report landed on the CEO's desk, undeniable and brutal. Millions siphoned into fake accounts, projects delayed because of Adrian's shortcuts, reputational risk that could sink the company. His father couldn't protect him anymore. The board demanded action. That night, Adrian called me, my number still saved in his phone, though he had never once respected me. His voice cracked, pleading, accusing, threatening all at once. "You did this," he hissed. I stayed silent, letting him drown in his own panic. He wanted me broken. Instead, he was unraveling. The next morning, he arrived at the office only to find his badge disabled. Security escorted him out the same way he once tried to humiliate me. His father didn't even look at him as the board announced his leave of absence. The whispers turned to open disdain. The same people who clapped for him now enjoying his fall. I watched from across the street as Adrian shouted, struggled, begged to be heard. No one cared anymore. The empire he inherited crumbled in his hands, and I had never laid a finger on him. His downfall spread beyond the walls of the company. News outlets picked up the story. CEO's son under review for financial misconduct. His name trended for all the wrong reasons. Friends distanced themselves, investors pulled out. He had built his life on entitlement, and now it collapsed in real time. I received messages from old colleagues, apologies wrapped in curiosity. "Did you know?" they asked. I didn't answer. My silence was louder than any confession. For weeks, Adrian disappeared. The office calmed, routines returned, and slowly my name was whispered again, not as a victim, but as a question. Would I come back? Could I? I declined every offer, every olive branch. Why return to a place that had watched me burn without lifting a hand? I had my dignity now, and something greater, the satisfaction of balance restored. Adrian was gone, and I remained. But revenge is never clean. One evening, as I left a cafe, Adrian appeared, disheveled, eyes bloodshot, tie hanging loose. "You ruined me," he spat, his voice breaking. For a moment, I almost saw the boy beneath the arrogance, the child desperate for his father's approval. But then I remembered the boardroom, his hand waving me away like trash, the laughter that followed. "No, Adrian," I said quietly, "you ruined yourself." And I walked away, leaving him in the rain. The company moved on quickly, replacing him with steady leadership, repairing the damage. His father kept his title, but lost his shine. His dynasty fractured. My name, though unspoken in public, lingered in private circles. I was no longer the ghost. I was the shadow that reminded them arrogance had consequences. People who once mocked me now avoided my gaze, not out of disdain, but out of guilt. In the end, Adrian vanished from the industry entirely, his name a cautionary tale told in hushed tones. And me, I built something new, far from their world, stronger, freer. Sometimes I pass by that glass tower and see my reflection in the windows. Not the humiliated woman walking out with trembling hands, but the one who turned silence into a weapon, humiliation into fire. Adrian thought firing me ended my story. He never understood. It was only the beginning.